Hashem, we're almost finished the Mesilat Yesharim. We're getting towards the end. Parak 14, PERISHOOT. It says, Chelka PERISHOOT Arishona Shlosha, Kine PERISHOOT Ba'anaot, PERISHOOT B'dinim, PERISHOOT B'minhagim. There's three things we have to abstain from, the Mesilat. The Ramchal, that Moshe Chaim Lutzato teaches us. And that is, we have to abstain from physical pleasure, the laws of abstaining from customs, the worldly customs, and from dinim. Previous chapter 13, we talked the fact that one should not overindulge, right? Obviously, we were just talking about lotin af, right? Don't commit adultery. How does a woman do such a thing? Sota, because she drank too much. I was just telling the Rosh Hashiva Shlita here, we have a great zechut, we have a Rosh Hashiva, Katanani, to talk in front of it. But a lot of very, very crazy and disgusting and unimaginable things happen when you're drunk, right? It lets down the barriers. So that's why the Mesilat Yesharim says that Chazal say, Perushim to you, Kedushim to you, right? One of the synonyms of holiness is to be a parush, to abstain. Not get too involved in the physical pleasures of this world, right? I just came to my attention, somebody in our community that was Orthodox and died young, and one of his family members told me he overdosed from drugs.
Recently?
Yeah, this last week or two ago. Young man passed away, no wife, no kids, in his 20s. Randomly.
A friend of mine in high school happened to also.
Yeah, a friend of yours in high school. There you go. So you understand why you're playing with fire. Listen, genetically, one can get addicted to these pleasures. That's why it's the biggest sin possible to take samamim, drugs. Because once you do it, you may get addicted to it. And he says any physical pleasure, whether sexual, intimacy pleasure, too much of that, would also, that's why he did Ezra Sofer said, he said Chachamim are sleeping too much with their wives, they have to go mikveh. Too much food. When you eat so much food, it makes you so heavy that you can't learn Torah anymore. The Ben Soreru Morer, why do we kill him? Because he was drinking and he was eating too much kebab, too much meat. The Malbushim, I'm sorry. If you have to wear a Giorgio Armani very expensive suit, what's going to happen? I'm telling you this. What happens is you could have worked 8 hours a day and learned 2 hours a day. But now that you need to wear the most $500 tie and $5,000 suit, you're going to work 12 hours a day, right? So what time do you have to learn now? The tiulim, oh wow. So I don't know how kosher it is, these people that go to Italia and Greece for Pesach. He says, listen, everybody needs vacation. Everybody needs a little bit, to relax. But too much traveling, there's no mitzvah every month to go on a different cruise. Because again, when you're going to miss the point of why you were created. Why were we created? To learn Torah, to do chesed, to break our midot. If every day you're on another tiyul, another cruise, another vacation, b'shmiot v'chol keyotze b'zeh, right? I'm sorry, even if you're too much into the news. I remember Rav Matasyahu Solomon, the Mashgiach Shlita. Yeshem should have a refuah shlema. When September 11th happened, he said, okay, it's okay if you want to listen 5 minutes a day to the news, right? When the Twin Towers fell, right? But 24/7 to listen to the news? Nobody said it's a mitzvah to learn the Wall Street Journal, Beyong. Right? You should learn a Rashba be'iyun, a Shmaitza be'iyun, a Prima Godim be'iyun, a Shach be'iyun, right? A Bir Halacha be'iyun, right? Shalish Chuvas Yebiyoimer, right? Or, you could learn the Divrei Maharchu be'iyun, right? The Kisvei Ari be'iyun. There's no mitzvah to sit and read every line of the Wall Street Journal. Okay, if you're an investor, you need to know. You know what I'm saying? The Nikuda, that's the Nikuda the Ramchal is trying to bring out, that there's no mitzvah of iyun by news. And he said, like, for example, it's a great mitzvah during Chol HaMoyed to take your family to the zoo, maybe take them to a kosher beach, right? But if every day you want to be surfing at the beach or just having fun, Adam la'amal yulad, Rabotai. Right? We have been created to work hard, right? The Gemara in Sanhedrin says, la'amal teira. We have to break our head to understand the Torah. There's no mitzvah. I'm sorry. All these people from Eretz Yisrael that go to Dubai now. Now the new place is Dubai. They think it's 613 commandments to go visit and see Dubai. Who said so? I mean, it happens to be one of the big Sephardic Gedolim, Chacham Ben Sion Mutzafi, was saying he knows all these Haredi people from Israel and America and the world. They go visit Italia. Italy, I'm not saying, listen, it's not my place. Everybody according to the Madrega. But there definitely is be what to say that this Italians, that the popes caused millions of Jews to die throughout history. They caused the second Beis HaMikdash to be burnt down. Who are the Italians? The Romans, right? And then you want to go there and you want to take your entire family there on a vacation and spend $50,000 on a Pesach program. Why not go there? You know what I'm saying? These things, if there's fear of heaven and you have a real rabbi that's in touch with the Gedolim, these are things that you should be thinking about twice. Besides the fact that a lot of these, quote, my Rosh Hashiva Shlita Rav Feldman said a lot of these Pesach, we were talking about lo tin'af, don't commit adultery, a lot of these Pesach programs are not kosher because they have mixed swimming. So what? They keep every chumrah. They keep every chumrah in Hilchas Kashrus, but then Hilchos Even HaEzer, Hilchos Kedusha V'Tar, which is more important. I'm sorry, kosher isn't one of the 10 commandments. But what is? So it says, okay, so I want to reiterate something. The Mesilat Yesharim from this half, from PERISHOOT, is for the Chassid. Right? It's not for the Tzaddik. So he says here something very interesting. He says that in order to be a Chassid, if you want to get to the Madrega of PERISHOOT, then let's say, for example, Rav Ovadia's Mekel. Oh, I'll give you a very good example of this. Because it happens to be Nogeh in my community. The Ben Ish Chai gave a heter in Rav Po'alim that somebody that was in India, he lived very far away, on Yom Tov he could ride a bike to get to shul. But does that mean that if you live in Beverly Wood or you live in Los Angeles in a metropolitan area, you should go biking on Shabbat instead of going to a shir? You understand? Because Rav Ovadia argues on the Ben Ish Chai, actually. You know that? Everybody thinks Rav Ovadia is a mekel on every single thing. Absolutely wrong. Rav Ovadia is very machmir about wigs. Rav Ovadia is very machmir about... Rav Ovadia argues on the Ben Ish Chai. He says there's never a heter. You listening, Shani? Yeah. To ride a bike on Yantiv.
Only Ben Ish Chai.
What?
Only Ben Ish Chai.
Yeah, it's only the Ben Ish Chai that's mekel. So listen, I'm not here to decide, but he says a person that's in this high, lofty madrega of PERISHOOT, he will want to even be machmir for the minority opinion. You understand what I'm saying? In order to to be a more holy person. Afilu shen halacha kemato uv'tnai shelo yeh chamur kulo. But no, a lot of times, right, guys, you have to be very careful that this chumrah that we're doing should not bring a kula. You understand? Which means, if chas v'shalom, it affects the chinuch of your kids or your shalom bayit, you shouldn't do that. ולהחמיר בספקות אפילו במקום שאפשר להכות בהם. וכפר אמרו חז"ל, הנה נפשי לא טמא שלא אכלתי ממנו שהורה בו חכם ולא אכלתי מבשר כוס כוס. What's an example of this? A chosid that's in the middle of PERISHOOT, let's say they did shchita and then it was questionable whether the animal was an nevela treifa, right? So let's say the chacham said it is kosher, right? It's glad kosher. Yecheskel Hanavi was on such a high madrega that he said since this animal already it had to be questions whether it's nevela or trefa, right? Whether it's kosher or not. I'm not even going to get into the sphere of safek. You understand? Of course it's kosher. Right? He was machmar on himself, Yecheskel Hanavi. But chas v'shalom, if you're a father and a rav, don't shove those chumras down the throat of your children and wife and chasidim, right? Because, we live in a generation where I personally know many of my cousins in Eretz Yisrael, Rosh Hashiva Shlita, unfortunately they went off the derech.
Rosh Hashivas?
No. I'm telling you that in Eretz Yisrael especially, you have a lot of people that go off the derech. Yeah. And sometimes, that we could have a shir on another time why that happens. But a lot of times it is that the father's too machmer on them. He doesn't let them be normal. So the Ramchal, in his extreme sensitivity of Mesilat Yesharim, says, if you want to be a parush, that's for you personally. Don't shove that down the throat of your wife and kids, because it could backfire. You understand? I tell you, one of the most difficult days of my life was I had two students that were Kohanim, and they went off the derech, and they used to learn with me almost every night. And I believe one of the reasons is that easy come, easy go. When you become a Baal Tshuva, you have to go step by step. When you take on too many things in too much of a rush, you become overwhelmed, and then you go off the derech. So the Ramchal is very, and he's saying, even if you're a parush, like Yecheskel Hanavi, that's for him personally. It's not that the Rav should teach that to everybody that's not ready to be on that madrega. Understand? וכבר זכרתי למעלה שאין לימון עד שהותר על כל הפרושים שיש להרחיק מן הכיור מכל המקום. He says the parush, the chosid, anything that even looks undesirable, he stays away from. Right? For example, we were talking about tznius, right? So you see somebody like our good friend, the Rosh Hashiva's friend, my friend, Chacham Eliyahu Netaneli. He's super machmir on shmirat enayim. Right? Does that mean that somebody that's about tshuva, somebody that's not on madriga, could, if he goes too quickly that way, his brain may fry, right? We don't want that. But you have to understand that once you're climbing this ladder of the Mesilat Yesharim to become an angel and godly and to Ruach HaKodesh, you become very separated from the common folk that don't really think too much about. They're very shallow, you know? You understand what I'm saying? Because the parush, the person that's part of abstinence, he doesn't even want to be in the same galaxy as sin, as averot, of things that are not holy. You understand? So it says the Gemara in Chulin Daf Chavhei 105 says Ana Bahan Milsa Marukva says Chalabar Chamel Gabeya Bedilu Abelach. So you see already that the Amoraim, how many hours do we wait between Basar v'Chalav, Gushti Masti, between milk? 6. But Mar Ukva's father was a tremendous chassid. The same day he had meat, he wouldn't have milk. Does that mean that
everybody should do that? Right?
No, but it's trying to say that sometimes people just become so in love with God, they want to go above and beyond. They want to get extra credit. You understand? And that, I'm saying, like, Harav Eliezer ben David, Rabbi Matov, one of my best friends, told me, Harav Eliezer ben David, the Mashkiach Zatzal, I just saw a picture of him with Rav Shalom Cohen Zatzal. He would not have any meat during the week. He would get his protein from like chickpeas and hummus and beans. Only Shabbos he would have meat. Does that mean is that something that we should teach the common folks? No, it's going to turn them off. It's going to cause them to go off the derech. But you should know there's such a madrega, that a person is such a parush, and he's a Kadosh Elyon, that during the week, he only reserves meat and chicken for what?
Shabbos.
For Shabbos and Yantiv. This is not a halacha. And even Mar Ukva, which was a person that would go into the fire and not get burned, if you look in the Gemara in Ksubis. But even Mar Ukva didn't keep his father's chomer, because he couldn't. It was too inconvenient. He wasn't on that level of chasidus and prishus, right? He would have meat only 6 hours after, misuda l'suda. But Mar Ukva's father, the same day that he would have meat, he wouldn't have milk. ובוודאי שהם שאם לא כן לא היה מר מוקפה עושה כנגד הלכת השביב מחמיר בפשוטו ולכך מר מוקפה קורא עצמו חלק בר חמרה לפי שהוא לא פרשקל כמותו. So he says that it's for this reason that Mar Ukva said that I'm only considered like beer, considered what's more valuable, wine. He says I'm only beer versus my father that was as valuable as wine, because my father was such a abstinent. He was, but again, I had a Rebbe Zatzal that was just nifter very young, Rav Gruman. He taught me in 10th grade Mesilat Yesharim. A lot of people may question me and say, why is it important for us to learn? Maybe we should only learn the Mesilat Yesharim to Perek Yud Beis, which makes you a tzaddik. Why should you? So Rav Cheskel Sarner, the Chevner Rosh Hashiva, said that Yisoid. He said the reason why we have to learn the Mesilat Yesharim to the end, even though maybe it's not everybody could be a chassid and get to the top of the ladder of the Mesilah, but at least you'll appreciate other
concepts.
Right. Maybe you could be a little bit of a chassid, right? And you appreciate people like Chacham Eliyahu Netaneli, the Baba Sali, Lavdil Ben Chaim L'Chaim.
You have to be exposed to the concepts. At least.
Right. And at least maybe your kid has the potential to be, your brother has to be, right? At least you know that such a thing is a kosher thing. It's within the realm of the ethics of Judaism, because the sky is the limit, and then therefore you'll appreciate it, right? If you don't know about these concepts, then you'll maybe think it's anti-Torah, right? But once you know how far and parush and abstinence one can be, then you'll appreciate the people that are on that madrega. Unfortunately, it's not so easy to be there. But at least we know that it is possible to get there and to appreciate the people that are there. Halavai, we should be that. Thank you and have a wonderful day.